So this is a little bit of a side link from Davar Ovid, which is the Klois Nikashayla together, what's called Tzorech HaMoed, and what's called the Shayla that comes up in Kamat every Sif, for sure in every Sinner. I'm just going to try to bring the various steers that we were a bit on since the beginning of HaMoed, and try to figure out a little bit if there's a klal, there's some kind of klal, or are we just stuck with Akurais again. In terms of the Shik of Davar Ovid, so it's certainly Kedai. I think I wrote that on the Ma'av sheet that everyone should see all the Gemaras before going to the place game, because the Pratim and the Pritya Pratim here are a little bit less negaya. All these mikrin of watering fields and flipping olives are a little bit less negaya, but there's a lot of very chashuv klolim. So it's Kedai to see all the Gemaras with the Rishonim first, and then we'll see the place of Al Seder. Maybe we'll speed things up a little bit. If we go sif by sif, it's going to be Nesarech Advarim. So that's inside there. Okay, so what is the shayla of Tzorech HaMoed? What is the gather of Tzorech HaMoed? So we saw in the beginning of Hilchos HaMoed that Ba'etzem Shalosh Machlokes B'Davar, what is exactly the Chaymer of Hilchos HaMoed? Is the whole thing only Midrabanan, like it's mashma in some Rishonim? Is everything Daraisa? If everything's Daraisa, that's what we're just discussing now, the Sigi of Davar Ovid. The first thing you see in Davar Ovid is that even though Davar Ovid is mutter, but not B'Tirchi Yisera. That Chumrah of Tirchi Yisera is that also midaraisa or only midarabanan. So some Rishonim pointed out Shuta B'Shaita the Chinuch, but that sheet is brought me in Tov Kuflam the Bialach and all place game. Everything is daraisa. So it's Tirchi Yisera, and that's also everything's Nimshal Chachamim Arasoi. Or like the Shita Shlishis, which the Bialach seems to be noted like the Shita Ramban, that anything, the ultimate klal in Melechus Chol is it's taka deraisa, like the Gemara Chagigas is mashmas, the Drasha Gemura. So there is an issue deraisa to do malacha. When Shaloi Tzorech HaMoed, anything that's Tzorech HaMoed min haTorah matters everything. It matters Tirchi Yisera, it matters Maisa Uman, even Shaloi, even not Eichel Nefesh, and all the various different hakabalas that we find of Maisa Hedir, not Maisa Uman. Tirchi Yisera, not Tirchi Yisera. All these hagbalas are all midirabanan. So ultimately, the klal, the ikar klal, is what is called a Tzorech HaMoed. Now, there is one other exception, like the Rabban himself speaks of, and that is Davar Ovid. Because as we're seeing already in all the sugyas of Davar Ovid, the chiddush of Davar Ovid is that it's not a Tzorech HaMoed. It's to save your money, shalom Tzorech HaMoed. To save your money for aftermath, your field, or your wine, or your oil, or whatever, the chuleh. So. Lefi the Ramban, that Melechus Chol HaMoed is min haTorah, and ultimately the heter is, like the Ramban says in the beginning of Piskei Chol HaMoed, it's a harchav. It's a harchav of the dinim of Melechus Chol Nefesh. Right? For Yontif we matter Tzorech Chol Nefesh, and for Al Derech Zu the Ramban says we matter Chol HaMoed all Tzorechim. So is Davar Ovid just an exception? So if the whole thing's Derabanan, so then the Davar Ovid is like the most Pasha Dazach. You find like every sugya in Shas, that when there's a hefsid beruba, so we're makel for kol minei sveikos and dinim derabanan and chumras. But if there's a yisur deraisa, so you can't do malacha. You can't do malacha on Shabbos because you have a hefsid beruba. You can't do malacha on Yontif because you have a hefsid beruba. Like we saw by Akiva, your whole house can be burning down. That's him to be over a lot. You have to lose all your money. So what's the heter of Davar Ovid? So we'll see if there are a number of mahalchim, but one mahalach we'll mention now is that it's tak also miyasoid tzarech hamayim. And ultimately, Davar Ovid is also a chelik of this ultimate Yisoid Lefi the Ramban, that really what the Torah said was, you're allowed to do whatever is needed for Tzorech HaMoed. How is Davar Ovid Shalot Tzorech HaMoed? So as the Ritz on Daf Gimel says that because a person who's losing his money is going to feel very terrible about it, and he's going to ruin his Simchas HaChag, and he's not going to be able to enjoy Yontif, so that becomes a Tzorech HaYontif, which is something that we touched on in Hilchos Yontif as well. Even on Yontif Atzmai, Agabe Daiges Halev, in terms of carrying a key, because of Chashash Ganovim. And obviously by Yontif it's much more chamer, but Lagabi Chol HaMoed, there's no klal of Davar Ovid by Yontif. So you have that's why that Rabbeinu Peretz and the Smak over there, that was the whole complicated issue. But the Ma'aseh Lagabi Chol HaMoed says the Ritva that the Yesod of Davar Ovid is also the last of the Tzorech HaMoed. It's all coming from the Etzem, what we're marchiv, the concept of Eichel Nefesh to include all Tzorechim, and so even Tzorechim Nafshiyim, even someone who just feels bad because he's losing all his money, but ultimately it's all Tzorech HaMoed. And the that's also mashma in the Muk Yosef that's learning pshat in the Ramban on Daf Dalet, I think in the Daf Erif. So the Muk Yosef quotes Alfi the Ramban who says a chilek that for Eichel Nefesh and Tzorech Yagov you can do Ma'aseh Umah, but for Shar Tzorachim you can't do anything, only Ma'aseh Hedit. So the Mukis says, why is it that when your Kaisla Chatzar falls down, why is it that you're allowed to be Bani Kedarka? You're allowed to do a regular binyan. What had you have to see for Mais Uman, Malacha Gemura, what's the heter? So the Mukis is a very funny lashon. He says, because Shmiras Besu Asuhu Ka'oichal Nefesh, Lefishu Davar Avid. It's two under heter. There's the heter of Davar Avid, and there's the heter that the Ramban has, the different things of Tzorech Haguf, whatever, become like Oichal Nefesh. So it's mashma, I'm not sure exactly how, we'll hopefully clarify that in the Sugya of Davar Avid, but it's mashma that Lefishu Davar Avid, what does that do for you? Ultimately, it all boils down to Oichal Nefesh. Oichal Nefesh, and Lefi the Ramban, the Harchav of Oichal Nefesh. Then HaMoed were marchiv the Tzorech Oichal Nefesh, to all Tzorech Haguf, and to all Tzorechim, for that matter. But ultimately, the fact that it's a Davar Ovid is not a heter farzich, but it's a heter because it also somehow goes into the klal of asuhu ka'oichal nefesh. Kach mashma d'vei Ramban al derech b'ritva, and the meila, the shaila becomes what is called tzorech HaMoed. What is the gather of tzorech HaMoed? Is it any tzorech kol do, anything you want to do? I mean, once we're marchiv past oichal nefesh, and we're even saying Davar Ovid because it's agmas nefesh, and you just feel bad about it, that's enough. So then we basically could just do it the whole HaMoed. Anything you're doing, obviously doing for a reason. Right, we saw in the Sugya of Rechiva, we'll get back to it, so it says over there, the place can say that Latayel is okay, can even fix the horse's feet for Latayel, but not Bechinam, not for nothing. In fact, Ar Chashulchan, what does it mean for nothing? I mean, if you're doing it, obviously you want to do it. So that's Tzorech HaMoed. Is Latayel, like you have to have a special kavanah, l'shem Latayel, so maybe, yeah, we'll see. Kipshuta, that halacha might just be Rechiva Shalom Tzorech HaMoed. Like today, if you want to go drive your car, or your horse for that matter, you want to go pick something up Shalom Tzorech HaMoed. So you're doing some errand that you have absolutely no need for a Chol Moed, for Lachar HaMoed, that might be an example of something that's not even Latayel, it's worse than Latayel. But the Aruch HaShulchan's pointing out that if we're just marchiv any Tzorech HaMoed, so anything you need to do is a Tzorech, so he doesn't really understand. So is there actually a gather? So the emes is, we already saw a Kama V'Kama halachas, a Kama V'Kama sugyas and Hilchos Chol Moed, that seem to create a shtickle bilbul in terms of what is the etzem gather of Tzorech HaMoed. What is needed, what is the dargas hatzorech that we need, that we can say this is called Tzorech HaMoed, and we come out there at least Melechus Hedyot, and even Melechus Uman min HaTorah, or Melechus Uman with Hashina, because again, like we said, the halacha, the chumrah, that with Tzorech HaMoed you can't do a Ma'aseh Uman, is only chum mid'Rabbanan. So that's why it also comes along with its various kulas, as we'll see. So the most bolate dogma, I think, is what we already spoke about last week in the Sugya of Tzorech Rabbim. And that is the Gemara in Daf Hey, Tavkuf Mem Daled. So there's a halacha there about a rabbin, that the rabbin's allowed to fix their boyer, even the Malacha Gemura, to dig new boyers for water. And the Rishonim bring from the Yerushalmi, the Rashba, that who adin a merchatz shal rabbin. That's the heter of Tzorech Rabbim that we already saw by Richos. Mashe Einkin Umaseh. A yachid doesn't have that heter. The Gemara says a yachid for his water can only do chatita, not chafira. Can only do a ma'aseh hedyot of cleaning out his bar that got stuffed up, and he can't dig a new bar. But who hadin, the Rishonim say he can't fix his merchatz the same way a rabbin can fix their merchatz. A yachid can't fix his merchatz at least by ma'aseh umah. Why not? So the Rishonim say, the Rashba says, the Rosh, that and the Mishnah Berurah quotes it, that Yachid, what does he need a merchatz for? It's not such a davar nachutz. He could be mistader without a merchatz, he can wash himself in other ways, he can go to his neighbor's merchatz. A merchatz of Yachid is not such a great tzorech. So, I think the way most people understand this sugya, and that's the way certainly we understood it, I understood it until we saw the Sharatzian, is that when we say a Yachid doesn't have the head of the Rabbin, means he can't do a Ma'aseh Umah. He can't do chafira, he can do chatita. So who did my merchatz? He can't do malacha gemura, which would be like chafira, but he could certainly do a ma'aseh hedyot. It's certainly a tzorech hamoed to fix your merchatz, and not to have to go to your neighbor's merchatz, or not to just bathe yourself without a merchatz. Says the Sharatzian, no. The Sharatzian in Sivkot and Vav and Tavkuf Mem Daled learns pshat and Rashba that a yachid can't be metaken his merchatz afilu ma'aseh hedyot. Why can't he? Meaning, which would mean ultimately it's not a tzorech hamoed. The tzorech, which today certainly, okay, so we already know that today, that's why Shmir Shabbos Kol Chasr, Shlomo Zalman already is doicha this din mehalacha, because this manenu, it's a different type of charity. But I think even if we go back to Zman Chazal, we're talking about something that was certainly, it's a pretty chashuv tzorech. Again, I'm a kol tzorech, it was a chashuv thing, people needed it, they wanted it. Yachid efshar lo b'loy mercha, to leil ch'makom acher. And the meilat also afilu b'maiseh hedyot. So the emes, I'm being makdim with this, because this is, I think, the most bolate example. The emes, I think, Ein halacha k'sharatzion. I looked around, a lot of Sfarim, are chaylik on the sharatzion. Everyone's trying to make kiptas in the sharatzion, trying to dray out of the sharatzion. But Al Kolpanim, the sharatzion didn't see in this halacha a stira to kol dinei chol HaMoed, which would indicate that the gather of Tzorech HaMoed has to be something quite substantial. Even a
nowadays more of a tzorech.
Yeah, that's a different chiluk. Yeah, that nowadays it's from Misaches to our rechitza. Shlomo Zalman says our rechitza not based on merchas. That's just how we keep clean. That was more of a tainug and more of a moisture.
You're saying even back then,
that's what
Sharatzion
was talking about.
I'm just saying whatever. No, he's talking about back then. I'm saying whatever you want to say back then. It wasn't stam garnished. I mean, it was a thing to be able to bathe yourself in the merchas.
No matter which door he was in.
Right. Let's try to contrast with the other halachas. L'mashal. So Tov Kuf Lamed Vav is the din from Daf Yud of Rechiva. So Lagabi riding a horse, it's no malacha b'chlal, so you could ride your horse for whatever you want, even for Shalot Tzorech HaMoed. Mashen Kein, if you have to do some kind of malacha to fix the horse's feet, that was Bisman the Gemara, to cut the nails, and then already Bisman the Rishonim. Rishonim pointed out they had paved roads, they had to put horseshoes as well, the Tak and Barzelim, which the Rishonim matter. So that's already malacha gemura. Arguably, a Maisa Uman, according to many places, can understand from the Stimus Advarim, it's Taka Matas and Maisa Uman as well. But certainly, the Kalbach is Matar Malacha and Maisa Hedyot. So it's a Tzorech. So what Tzorech do you have to have for Rechiva? So there, if you have to obviously go do some Tzorech HaMoed, to go get food or whatever it is, then certainly be Mavur. But it's Mavur over there that, so there seems to be a steer Minei. Mitzad Echad, so let's just talk Tzorech HaMoed. You have to go get food, you have to go to shul, maybe not going to shul, tzorech mitzvah. So you have to do some kind of tzorech HaMoed. The Rosh, and that's passing in Shulchan Aruch, it's Mavur, that it's only if you're not lamud olechis beraglav, but if you're used to walking that distance, I guess, in general, you're used to walking for this type of tzorech and this type of distance, you're allowed to drive the horse, because riding a horse is nothing, but you're not allowed to do any malacha for that tzorech. So that maybe shtims with the Sharatzian's hashkafa. You see, I'm tired now. I mean, why would the guy who's lamed lechus ragav decide he wants to ride the horse? I guess he's just not in the mood to walk, or he's tired, or some kind of revach. It's more geschmack to take the horse for him right now. Aser, michad kisa, miidach kisa. Which tzorachim are we talking about? So say the Rishonim that even teal. That's the Beis Yosef learns that even teal is enough to matter not only riding the horse, but even to fix tzarchei hasos. That's what he says. The minig is that's passed in Shulchan Aruch. So it can't be bechinam, which the Aruch Shulchan doesn't understand. What exactly is bechinam? What does it mean that you have no need whatsoever? Okay, let's leave that. Whatever teal is, teal just means joyriding. Yeah, it's enjoyable to get out a little bit and ride around on your horse. So presumably that's something that you can find some other way to be with tile. It's not some tzarech echrechi. And afal pikein, that's enough to matter doing malach. So minei ubei, it's a little shver. Minei ubei in this halach is a little shver. Michad gisa, if you're lamed lechus beragav, if you want to go do an emes tzorech HaMoed, afal pikein, you can't do any malach. You're lamed lechus beragav, you have no head to go on the horse. Miidach gisa, if you're not lamed lechus beragav, and you're just trying to figure out, is this thing that I want to drive for, I want to get on the horse for, is this enough of a tzorech? Even Teal Baal was mutter. So my shouldn't someone who's not lamed lechus beragav, someone who is lamed lechus beragav, and he wants to ride his horse, why is it any garami teal? The guy who wants to be with tiles wants kishmak. He wants to have a good time. He wants to have simcha sachad. He wants to go on a chol hamoed trip. Yeah, he wants to just get out a little bit, and that's enough. So why is it any worse? The guy who's not lamed lechus, the guy who's lamed lechus beragav, why are we machmar him? Let him be like a teal. He feels like going out a little bit. Hagan that he's not doing it for teal. He's doing it because he has a certain tzorech that he usually walks for. So why would we machbir on him? And if we're and again, then we can start contrasting with the previous halacha. If the Sharatzin says you can't fix your merchatz, so let's say it was a different type of merchatz. It wasn't such a echrik, but it was some kind of tzorech. That's not enough for the Sharatzin. Not even a ma'aseh hedyot. But l'tayel, to stam go on a pleasure trip, that's enough to do a halacha. My hat. That's one steer to start with. Ubi yoser, something that's menesarchim. Ubi yoser, once you're allowed to do rechiva, whatever rechiva is motor for, then we matter even for yipoy hasos. You're allowed to even be sarek the thing. So that's tzorech hamoed. Once you have that head to go on the teal, to have the clean horse, that's mamish, much more important than merchatz, than having a shower to bathe yourself in. Okay, it was different. Right there, it was a different type of shower. Say there. Again, it's hard for us to understand. Maybe when people were riding horses every day and things were a little different, it was like, meaning more important than cleaning your car. Some people
You get gross
cleaning your car. Maybe like the horse was like, right, it's much worse. Maybe it's affected the rider even worse. I don't know. But if we're going to compare it to a car wash, I don't think that's like such a gross concern because you can't go without a car wash. Noch halach. Taf kuf mem he. Igros shalom. What exactly is Igros shalom? I'm sorry, Igros Rishus. What is Igros Rishus? Is the Shaila? So one, some Rishonim learned that Igros Rishus is Igros shalom. You let us send a friendly letter. And then it says the Mechaber learns even from Pragmati Shein. So why is this a Tzorech HaMoed? So first of all, it's only a Tzorech HaMoed. It doesn't matter my Seuma. That's the first thing Mishnah Berurah points out. Tov Kuf Nesif. Okay. Sifei. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Hatam Reish Inod B'Nizar. First of all, you're not so careful because it's just a friendly letter. It's not an official document. So it's a Ma'aseh Hedin. Says the Mishnah Berurah. What about Tzorech HaMoed? You said it's a Tzorech. Umikri Tzorech HaMoed K'tzas. Masha Shoyel B'Shloim Chaveirim. Then Loi Kein Osir Af Ma'aseh Hedin. Kidol El. So again, fixing your shower, the merchat shelchet, not considered Ma'aseh Hedin. Wanting to take your horse in a distance that you generally walk, also not a Tzorech HaMoed. But to write a letter to your friend, that's Tzorech HaMoed. Because it's Tzorech HaMoed Tzatz, enough to matter Ma'aseh Hedin. The emphasis here in the Sharatzian, he says Matzasi B'Ritva, who's matmiyah and salacha. And if you learn, like the Rishonim, that Igros Rishus is Igros Shalom, it's just a friendly letter. Matzasi B'Ritva, says the Sharatzian over there. Yesh Tema, Matzorech Yesh B'Zeh, Yesh Loim Razak B'Ritva. Going to Tzorech L'Nyani Yantiv. Really, Igros Shalom is something that is necessary for Yantiv need. You're telling him, inviting him for a meal or something. Inami B'Mnei Simchas HaRegel Shelo Yehei B'Daiga. Yesh Tzorech L'Mashalech L'Mashalech Arkan L'Shom. So in the Sharatzian, he brings the Ritva that he's mamish matmi on this halacha. What happened with you can't just stop doing things at home? It's not for fun. I mean, teal is kind of fun, but this is less than that. Zok the Ritva. Who says you have a heter to write a letter? Zok there, either for tzarchei yantif or for daiga. Now, the reason this is probably in the Sharatzian is because I don't think this Ritva is a halacha. And all the poskim you don't find in such a halacha. L'chayr the poskim before, even if you're sending a letter to someone who's not worrying, couldn't care less about you. He's not worrying about how you doing. And it's not for Tzorchei Yantif, you're still sending him a nice letter. The Aruch HaShulchan Aruch has a clear if the letter's not going to get there until after Yantif. But let's say it's going to get there on Yantif. It's the Pashas Halacha, that's Mutar B'Chol for you. Stop, I want to send you a letter. You're not worrying about me, it's not for Tzorchei Yantif, stop. Kipashtas Harishan. She'ela Shalom. Igros Shalom. So, the Bir Halacha here, who's really addressing a different nice thing, the question of Shtar, that's Pragmati She'en Avuda. The Mechaber is marketed this heter to even a certain kind of unnecessary document. The Bir Halacha is very worried about it. The mice of the Bir Halacha we are on the spot brings to the Shabbat Yaleket. Now what's the Yisayid of Igros Shalom? So first of all he says it's like a tircha b'hach ksiva. So fine, the Mishnah Berurah used that svara that there's no tircha to tell us that what? It's a Ma'aseh Hedin. But we're dealing with the second problem now, the more basic problem. It's not a Tzorech HaMoed. You don't need to write a letter to your friend. Akiva she'ina kosev klal el she'lo shalbir the leka tircha b'hach tziva v'lo damyo lemelacha klal. So that might indicate a different kivon, that maybe this type of writing is not melacha. Hilkoch muter de loy hevi ki im kimetayel ba'alma. It's like the din of teal. So the Shivalei Leket kind of understood that that's like a beis av, the din that we're bringing from Akiva to be reichev l'teal, which matters even melacha gemura. Is a base for what you need. So what? Igros Shalom, it's not such a gross tzorech. You're right. It's really just hana ba'alma. But there's two nekudas in the Bir Halacha. One is that the fact that you're not medaktik takes it down from a Ma'aseh U'Ben to Ma'aseh Hedin, and might even make it like it's not nechshav kimalacha. But sounds like there's another nekuda in kimetaya in Igros Shalom, that even though there's no tzorech, that's why you're not medaktik. That's what made it in Ma'aseh Hedin. So that's kulasei chumrasei. So meilah's no tzorech for ekter, so you have no need for it. No, says the Shabbat Leket. The Ma'aseh is like kimetayel ba'alma. What tzorech do you have to kimetayel? The answer is no tzorech. There's no absolute need or hechrech to be metayel. And afal pikein it's mutter. So who hadin, who hatam, it sounds like Gabe Iger Shalom. Which again brings us back to the problem. That mitzad echad teal is okay, which is just teal b'alma. Iger Shalom is like teal b'alma, and that's mutter. When we idach kisa, we have the problem of a merchat shayachi, or someone who's used to walking, we force him to walk, and we don't allow him to take the pleasure of driving to take care of his needs. And two more halachas. One is a Mishnah Berurah, one's a Mechaber. Mishnah Berurah brings in Siman Tavkuf Mem Aleph from the Rivash. Someone as a baby is making a bris milah. Mishnah Berurah is in Tavkuf Mem Aleph. So he's making a bris milah, and he would like to, with a Maisa Hedyot, he would like to make a nice little outfit for the baby, for the bris. This is an older rabbi, not just. Yes, he brings from the Rivash Aser. Why is it Aser? I'm talking about Maisa Hedyot. Loi Mikri Tzorech HaMoed. L'chvoid Aviv, right? Obviously, the kid could care less. So, but what did the father? He's going to bring his kid out and wash the thing. I think today it's l'chvoid Imoy. So it's Aser. Lisa Oisa, yeah. L'yachol l'karcho b'chatichat shiroin. Take a nice little blanket of some sort and wrap him up in a nice blanket. That's enough. We have to make a whole blanket. Not Tzorech HaMoed. So this seems to go on the chevel in the group of halachas that sound like you need a real tzorech. I mean, making an outfit for a kid for a bris, I think it brings everyone simcha and people feel it's a need. Aser. Finally, the Mechaber and Siman Tov Kuf Lamed Hey, that the halacha is, this is also mitzad tircha, maybe there's some halacha about, we'll see Tov Kuf Lamed Hey, the din of being over midiro dir, shaloi lefanas mechatzer lechatzer, it's a Mishnah Daf Gimel. And the halacha is, you're not allowed to leave, Mechaber Paskins, you're not allowed to be mefana dira. You're not allowed to move diras on Chol Moed, it's too much tircha. Says the Mechaber, v'lo lefanas dira, v'lo lefanas kelev, she'im tzorech HaMoed. Now, this halacha, says the Mechaber, is afilu mik'ura l'nah. You're in a dumpy, disgusting apartment, and you want to move into a nicer one. Says the Mechaber, that's us. That's not enough to be matir malacha. In this case, it's vikar isur tircha. But the fact that you're going from a dira ke'ura to a dira noah is not enough to matir b'mayit. If you have no house, obviously to get a house would be a tzorech. But to go from not so nice to nicer, also b'mayit, it's not considered a tzorech. So again, this is something that chayra is more chashiv to people than Iber Shalom. Probably. You have to send a letter. I think people would. If they had a choice, they'd rather have a heter to move to a nicer dira than to send their friend a letter. If in sending a letter, til ba'alma b'seder, and this tzorech, it sounds like kemat tzorech gomer. And afalpikin it's aser, which kind of sounds like the din of merchatz and the din of mi she loma goleches berab. Yes.
I think before all these, the Shalosh Shalom, you have bria there. So by merchatz, you can take one shower instead of 5 showers, or you could live in a dira kehura instead of dira mefuer. But the Ger Shalom and by the other case,
that's exactly the point. Yeah, what do you say by Ger Shalom?
There's no hagbalas. You do teal, I just do teal. So there's no hagbalas. Do teal less, do teal more.
Right. Now there are probably other ways you could do teal, other than getting on your horse. You can go to the zoo. However else you could do your teal. But I'm asking. I think this is the point I want to bring out. That berega that you want to go a teal on your horse. That's your tzorech now. That's what you're in the mood for, nothing more than that. Lamaisa, that's really a tzorech. Mashinkin, all these other dugmos, you're saying there's another eitzah. So where does it come from that we'll say if you have another eitzah, that's not considered tzorech? I mean, after all, to move to a nicer dira, at the end of the day, I feel a greater need to do that than to be matayal with my horse. So my, I think that's the pshat. And I think this is mavur in Hilchos Yom Tov. There's a halacha we saw in Hilchos Yom Tov. It comes from a Tosfos, members of Hilchos Hashem. Yeah, that's for what? For a davar abi, do you mean?
Yeah, like you can do it.
That's a different story. That's all.
You have to do less.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that's together of what's considered a basic tzorech, just not to my side. So where do we see such a chilek? Because ultimately, if we're just arbitrarily trying to decide what's the midas hatzorech, these cases, there's still steers here. There's many cases where a person, ask the average person, will think like it's much more important to be able to drive to where I want to drive, and I'm not in the mood to walk, and to move diras than it is to ride a ger shalom, and be misarek my horse. So there's a halacha in Hilchos Yontif like this in Tav Kavav Siv Zayin. So Hilchos, Oichel Nefesh is we have a lot of motoris bechol hamoed motor lagamri side by sehediv side by zuman who had in beyontif and who had in bechol hamoed. So there's a halacha that you shouldn't learn. Tosfos Betzim learns from a Gemara in Shabbos. The Gemara is discussing what you're allowed to save. It's an Isser Tircha to save things from the house that's burning down on Shabbos. So one of the things the Gemara says that if you have pas Nikia, you have refined, fine flour bread, good bread, so you're not allowed to go save lesser quality bread. So Tosfos learns from there, halacha klape Hilchos Yontif. Yesh lo adam harbe pas Nikia. So let's just be machmir. In Yontif and huadin and Chol HaMoed, you're allowed to cook however and whatever in as a tzura that you want, as long as, but tonight you do the Tzorech HaMoed. So if you have 15 different types of dips on the table and you want to make number 16, even though that mamish sounds like moisrus ba'alma and no tzorech b'chlal, but it's eichel nefesh, and everything that's nechshav tzorech eichel nefesh is a tzorech that matters malacha side, yontif side, and kol shkein chol hamoed. But if yesh l'adam harbi pas nikia, eino oifa pas acheres, pas hadra, he can't cook a lower quality bread or more coarse bread. Elan kein yesh lo b'nei bayis shiragol achilam pas hadra, unless there's some people who are used to that type of bread and they need it. Yesh lo pas hadra harbi. But if you have the lower quality bread, you're allowed to cook the higher quality bread. Now, so l'chayr here we have a similar type of problem. Leches, bishul, and eichel nefesh is mutter b'yontif. So it means I have 6 types of chicken and I want to cook that 7th type. It's b'seid. So I'm in the mood for pas hadra. So what's your problem? Why can't I make pas hadra? I have tons of pas nikia, but I want some variation. I want some different type of bread, and that's what I'm in the mood for. The midah that we see that for Eichel Nefesh, there's really no Hagbala. You decide you want the apple pudding and the peach pudding and the strawberry pudding and the blueberry and 15 different times it's mutter. Tzorech Eichel Nefesh. So why all of a sudden does Chal say no, but pas hadra not? So the Ritva in Shabbos says, it's a kol. Because what is a person saying when he's saying he wants bread? He's saying, I need bread. I don't have bread and I need bread. So Chazal could say, Chazal can't tell you that you want this and you don't want that. Chazal tell you what you're asking for. You already have it. You need bread, you have bread. If you have top quality bread and you're going to make different types of lower quality bread, I don't want to say different types, but that's an afkamina, we'll see. But you have higher quality bread, to make lower quality bread is like saying, I have bread, I'm just making more bread. That's also in Yontif. It says that. It's a little bit subach, there's a chaznish about that, but pshuta, if you have a fresh loaf of bread and you want to make the exact same loaf of bread, or just for kicks, you want to make another loaf of bread, that's also because you have it already. So al zen nemar is after we don't have any hagbala to what's mutter for tzorech eichel nefesh, and as we'll see, who adin for tzorech chol hamoed. Tzorech hamoed means normal, common things that people want to do, and it doesn't have to be a hechrich, and it doesn't have to be a tzorech gadol. And the meila, a tzorech is a tzorech, you can do it unless you already had it. Pas keepers but what are you saying? You need it? You don't need it. You have it already. Now that's Lagabe, and that's Gabesh. And that's why if you look in Salach over here, the Mishabura and the Poskim, the Machaber Alein says, if you have Bnei Abayis that are ruggle with Pas Hadra, then it's already mutter. Because by them, it's not Baal Daita. This is their Regilos. So if they're not going to have this type of bread, you don't force them to be madchik themselves to eat Pas Hadra, they're used to it. So for them, there's a real tzorech for them. And that's the Mishabura says, that Hu Adin, if you want, that's Pasha, if you want fresh bread, if the other bread is not as fresh, and you prefer fresh bread over fine flour bread. So that's what they're. And Hu Adin says in Mishabura, and that's the biggest right what we're saying, he says that the whole halacha here is cooking a lower quality bread of the same dagan, wheat bread or whatever dagan you're talking about. But if it's a different min, if you're cooking spelt or rye or oats or whatever, a different kind of bread, then even if it's a lower darga, it's takamata. Kol zeh mavur in the shvuri, I'll be the place. Why? Because again, Chazal there's no checklist to see exactly how much you need for a tzorech eichel nefesh. It just has to be something you don't have. That's the definition of a tzorech, it sounds like. Tzorech means you need it. What does it mean you need it? Not that we have to go into everyone's mind and see how much do you really need it. As long as it's a need, meaning something that you really what you want, and it's mutter to do b'yontif, so that's called a tzorech eichel nefesh. You just can't have the same exact thing already. Says Tosfos, based on the Gemara and Shabbos, sometimes having the same thing also includes having something similar. Meaning, if you have a higher quality, you want to cook lower, that's cool, like you have it already, and then there's no such happening. So, the Fiat Dvarim Ma'elu, that brings us back to Chol HaMoed, to understand a little bit the gather of what Chazal are doing and when they're asking and when they're mattering, it's al derech what Daniel was suggesting. And that is like this. So let's see. So Bar Shal Yachid. Bar Shal Yachid, the emphasis, this is a little bit of a different halacha because the din of a Bar Shal Yachid is talking about a Maisa Uman. So Bar Shal Yachid, Yachid is not allowed to do Maisa Uman for water, even though for Tzorech Echel Nefesh we matter doing Maisa Uman. Now, for PK, we tell them, since you have access to water somewhere else, we're not going to matter you to do a Maisa Uman. Again, that we do matter to do a Maisa Hedya. For water, Yachid could do a Maisa Hedya. So that is really Tzorech, but at least on the Madrega of Uman Hedya, that's the concept that we tell them you don't not let it do a Maisa Uman for this, even though it's food, because you have access to it somewhere else. But let's go back to our examples. The three examples where we saw L'chayra Chumra Mufleges is by Rechiva, Mila, and moving deers. Rechiva is pshat that someone who's lamud lo lechus baraglo. So I don't know if we have to say it like this, but the point is that transportation from place to place. If you're lamud lo lechus baraglo, so you already have the transportation. You have your feet. If you're lamud lo lechus baraglo and you have the oifen to get from place to place, so then you have no tzorech to create some kind of vehicle or to fix some kind of vehicle or any kind of halacha in order to facilitate getting from place to place, because you're already lamud l'lechus b'raglo. So you have the means. What do you say your tzorech is? It's a means to get from place to place. But if you already have the means to get from place to place, you have it already. So that's not called a tzorech. That's l'gabei rechiva. Mashen kein latil, even if the claims it's a garnish from the tzorech, you could do 100 different things. Hope to decide I'm going to go for a ride on my horse. Well, the ma'isa that's a tzorech of teal. That teal, that hana, that tzorech, there's no other way to mekayim it unless you fix the horse's feet. So the Meila, even for that tzorech, let's call it tzorech koldu, it's mutter to fix the horse's feet. Hagam, that there's other ways to do teal, because it's not the chuya. You don't have to say, okay, so instead of riding my horse, I'll find some other way to have a good time and to, relax. As long as there's a bezunder tzorech that you're interested, just like you have 15 types of cake and you want to make another 16th type of cake, that's mutter. So hu adin, hu atam, any tzorech of teal moed, since it's a chag, it have to be the tile b'chag b'chol moed. So as long as you have an oifen that you're interested in being the tile, and you have no other way to do it, because there's no other way to ride the horse unless you fix his feet, that's a tzorech HaMoed. What mash'enkein, if it's just a means of getting you from place to place to perform some tzorech, that's your purpose in doing this malacha. So then we say about l'daitcha, you have it already. And the chayru hu adin by bris milah and hu adin by avurei dira, that the bris milah. So l'chayr, that's the same time that the Rav is saying that since the kid doesn't care and it's just some kind of a cover to you want to bring the kid out in a shmata or place unclothed and dancing, but is it necessary for him to have clothing? No, because the little child, it's the same thing, same idea. If you just wrap him up in a nice shirag tachrichin of shiroim of some kind of nice maybe not tachrichin, but some kind of silk pretty blanket, so that's enough. There's no need. So here at Zok the Rivash, you have it already. So what are you creating something that you need if you have? Meaning it would be a big nafkamina. The Gemara says we have a heter to be teifer on HaMoed. 2 years begun mutter for uman.
Yeah, instead of I'm loaded always to have nice clothes.
So exactly, that's exactly my point. There's a halacha in Shulchan Aruch you're allowed to sew clothing on HaMoed. Is that so? The halacha there is mishat tzarich lebeged. So does that mean that? I don't know what it means. Does that mean that you have no clothing? Your clothing burned down? You're done? Or no? It means that one suit got dirty or one thing got dirty, and you don't really particularly like your other clothing. You're not ruggled to wear them, or it's weekday clothing for that matter, or I'm thinking that'd be mutter.
Why is it different than deer before and deer?
1 second. So I'm just saying. Let's first of all about the katan. Meaning mash'enkein a katan. L'chor what the Rosh is saying is svara that when carrying the kid in for this tzorech of the bris milah, and it was just that 5-minute thing or whatever it is. So for that we say that's not called a tzorech of having clothing. Mash'enkein echanami for an adult. I think it would be enough. Meaning akidekach. I don't know yesh la'ayin bismanein. I think it could be a big enough kamina bismanein. If a kid bismanein, okay, usually there's no need to borrow it or whatever it is, but just. Theoretically, yeah. L'saber so if today Bismanenu, the kid had no clothing, had no brisk outfit, so Yitachin Moed, that would be called a regular Tzorech HaMoed for sure. You can't just say, okay, he's wearing a diaper, wrap him up in a blanket, and bring him out for the bris. That would be considered something totally unacceptable. Covered of it, whatever it was. Yeah.
The covenant is to have this stuff that's again. That's not what
Yeah.
That's just stopping you wants the kid to.
So what I'm suggesting is, the Rosh is saying, you'll get your covenant with the Shirayim just as well. I'm saying it won't be mamish the same thing, but you have that need. Meaning it's not like clothing, where if a person's uncomfortable with this clothing, we say, you can make different clothing. Not shaking here. It's not a kid who needs clothing. It's a certain bezunder tzorech. So we say you have that tzorech. And finally, avurei dir. So avurei dir, the pshat is that you have a dir. So hagam, that being a nicer dir, will be obviously a tosefes and a revach, and will be more geshmak. But ultimately, you're trying to do malacha for something that you have. So you need, what we're saying tzorech means, my tzorech is that it should improve, to be better, but that's the idea. Pas kiva, pas
So wear your dirty suit.
So we're what?
Wear your dirty suit. Is it different than
It's dirty.
if my suit's dirty, I can sew new clothes. So
Well,
wear your dirty suit. Just like if the
Probably, I think it is different. Why exactly? It's interesting to philosophize why, but I think we're talking about someone who lives, some people live in Dira Mechoros. This guy probably was living there. He has his dam was to move to Dira no. It's a thing that people do. People don't wear dirty clothing. So
someone has
don't wear dirty clothing. I'm saying it's not normal during the week. Someone's not going to go out. If you only have dirty clothing, you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to wash it before you go out. If you wake up in a dirty dira, so most people are saying that. What?
You have, let's say, clean clothes. You want nicer clothes. That's mutter also to be over.
Depends on the person.
Something nice. Why is this coming house? You want a nicer house. You want a nicer thing.
So that's what I'm saying. I think there, in some way, finding we say that even though it's not the exact same thing, you're being marviach epis, but it's still cool that you have that thing. So I'm saying, just like by pas kiber and pas nut, we do say that if you have pas nut, you can't make pas kiber. But if you have pas kiber, you're allowed to make pas nut. Why? It's just a little bit nicer. The teretz is, as long as it's a tzorech mesuyim for a which is considered a normal need, so it's like something else. Meaning, most people have different clothing. Most people don't wear their ugly clothing. So as long as that's a normal tzorech to move on to the next thing, article of clothing, to have a different article of clothing, to have Shabbos clothing, so that's ready enough to consider tzorech. I'm just saying that a kud here is, and chanam, you have to know where to draw the line, and where to make the klal, where to not apply the klal, not to apply the klal. But the point of all these halachas to be miyashe pashat the stira minei ubei, that if you're lamed lachas baraglov, we're mamish machmaning, but for a til ba'al mutter, so l'chayra kol zeh is at least more move on the fee zeh that we're going to say that the chumras that we find in Chazal are ba'ofen that you have that tzorech, and the tosefes in that tzorech is not enough to be meisif. L'maisa, it's still a little bit shver legabe. Legabe the sharatzi is still shver because having a shower, so he says you can do without it. So if you can say you can do without it, I think that's why Mitzorech, and that's I think why the sharatzi the place don't accept the sharatzi. I think la'alacha, if you don't have a shower, you need a shower. You can do a malacha tzorech. Right. So there's two things he says. He says you can do without it, or you can shower somewhere else. If it's all showering somewhere else, maybe you're the sharatzi.
He's not even without it. The guy went without a shower for a week already anyway.
Okay. So yesh l'falpul was it? Yesh l'falpul was it? I think l'maisa lahalacha. If it's a question of going next door, so maybe it's the same aside. If it's a question of doing without it, then even if it's a tzorech koldu. Now, but maybe you can know because I don't know what the mitzias was. But bismaneim, what does it mean do without it? So you can take a bucket and wash yourself like this without going into a shower. So maybe that's also enough for the sharatzi. Okay, I'll call upon him, but it seems like l'maisa sharatzi is a chiddush. The passion of the sharatzi is not like that. And you could do a meleches hedyut l'tzorech merchat shel yachid. So now, klape ma'at dvar mamurim. Let's just be the same. We're not going to fish over here. Klape ma'at dvar mamurim. That some of the svarim falpul different types of tzorachim that are necessary. L'tzorech hamoed, l'tzorech til b'moed. Going fishing, picking flowers, picking fruits and vegetables. So in all these cases, it's very often a tzorech eichel nefesh. You can eat some of the fish, eat the flower, you put the flowers in your house. It's very nice. Or you take the vegetables that you pick, or the fruits that you pick, and you eat them. But even if you're not, and it's just being done for fun and for teal, even though it's a tzorech koldu, so some svarim say, no, it's not a tzorech for the covet of the moed, it's not a tzorech gomer, but it's not the nekud. The nekud is that there's a certain teal that you're really just want to do, which is really from by the horses. That's enough already to be makayim a tzorech for the moed to matter even Malacha Gemura, and I'll just move with the Shiloh that I put here. I wrote I'll leave that for the Olam. Is that, so someone asked me the Shiloh, they take a cooking course. But they take a cooking course, forget if it was a place that there's treif food, with treif chocolate, and they don't eat the chocolate, they just do it because they like to learn how to make chocolate creations, or it's a hechsher they don't rely on. I forget what the Nekuta was. It was in America, Chutzlars, but Lamaisa, let's talk about someone who's taking a chocolate baking course, cooking course, and it's treif. They won't eat anything, they just do it to learn the thing. And there's a sidra of classes, and there's a class on HaMoed. Could you attend the class which includes Malacha Gemura, Bishul, and Lush, and whatever, all kinds of Malachas Gemuras, to take this course which teaches you how to make. Oh, so it could be Davar. So let's say it's not a Davar. You can make up the course, we'll give you an extra class afterwards. And you're right, I think it is Davar. Let's say it wouldn't be a Davar. Is that a Tzorech HaMoed to matir?
You can make it for Yom Tov.
It's true.
Now you know how to do it.
No, you make a difference here that you learned last week.
So this is the final lesson. They're going to teach you to make other things practice of the Torah. Before today, you don't know how to make little Torahs. You only know how to make little poles.
It's telling you, if you learn a skill to use, that's enough.
You're making it
You're learning a skill, that's enough.
No, I don't think it's my good. I won't lose it. I won't miss out on the skill.
You're 15 tips. Teaching you 15 tips.
So I thought maybe it's totally why she's doing it. If she's doing it to learn a profession, then it's mamish not to you. Let's say she's not doing it for a profession. It's geschmack.
No, I want to be smart right now. I mean for tomorrow.
So, could you stop cooking HaMoed? Just for fun? Even my sehetim matters. I'm asking here even my sehetim.
It's like a tool, you're having fun. It's like a tool.
Tzorech was there, so wait for that.